You know, if you were at Circle K right now, you could pop in and grab something fresh and delicious to eat and be back on the road in no time. Yep, you'd be moments away from sinking your teeth into a juicy bacon cheeseburger or a mouth-watering brunch burger on a brioche bun, both hot and fresh out of the oven. From pizza to sandwiches, whatever you're in the mood for, it's all fresh and it's all fast at Circle K. Food offering varies by location.
It's time for the shop report with
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, the number to call, 267-687-0026. As always, the Shop Report is being powered by none other than Rocket Digital Media. You can go to their Facebook page at RDM Detroit or check them out online at rocketdigital.net. That's ROCKIT digital.net. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. Joining us on the P program today is none other than my cat from the NYSA, a.k.a. Rucker Park. Brother Rich, what's happening?
I'm always honored and humbled to be on this wonderful program with you, Cowboy Nation, and the rest of the Jerry Jones Foundation.
Yeah, you hear that sound? Yeah, that's the sound of a toilet flushing. That's where that one should have went. And on the other side of the ledger, we got my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
I'm glad to be back and looking forward to being in this episode of The Fresh Prince with, we're missing Carlton, but our host here.
Carlton should be joining us very, very soon. If you all don't know who he's referring to, that's D. Gully from the COLUM Bus. He should be joining us. Double J, you were just recently out in Vegas not too long ago, right?
That is correct.
Did you get a chance to go by the Las Vegas Raiders' new toilet bowl? Oh, my bad. The new stadium?
I did.
What'd you think of it?
I certainly did. It is walking distance from Mandalay Bay, and I tell you what, they spared no expense for it to be vacant.
Yeah, right. COVID-19 is on the scene, baby. Yes, indeedy. All right, fellas, this first one comes to us from none other than the National Football League, a.k.a. the Not For Long. Now, we're all familiar, of course, with my man, 49ers tight end George Kittle, who, by the way, some say is better than Travis Kelce, but that's a story or a debate for another day. Me personally, I like Travis Kelce, but I'm not going to say nothing bad about my man George Kittle. But what we're here to talk about today is something Kittle said in regards to 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan. Now, we all know Shanahan is regarded as one of the brightest offensive minds in the NFL. I'm in agreement not just with what Kittle said, but what that first sentence or statement was, because you all know this is Brownstown that we're reporting live from, right? And I've said two things on this program, on this platform.
They moved to Texas.
Yeah, they're the Dallas Texans, the Cleveland Texans, or the Dallas Kyle Browns, whatever. But the point is, I've said two things about Cleveland sports, and I'll stick to it. When it comes to the Cavs, their biggest loss to date was David Griffin. When it comes to the Browns, their biggest loss to date is Kyle Shanahan. And again, while the successes of the offenses he is overseeing certainly support his reputation, it might not do him justice, right? Let me read this to you. Shanahan's genius, we all remember the Super Bowl, right, against the Chiefs, was on display at one point during the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game. Prior to a crucial third down play, cameras caught him informing the sideline referee that a Green Bay Packers defender was about to commit a pass interference penalty. Shanahan said, 5-yard out route, 85 versus their guy, is what Shanahan told the official. He's going to go inside and break out, talking about the defender. And he won't let tight end George Kittle out. Just watch for it. And just as Shanahan predicted, the defender held on to Kittle as he was breaking out of his route. And, of course, we all know 2 penalty flags were immediately thrown, giving the 49ers an automatic first down. Kittle says that wasn't the first time Shanahan predicted the exact sequence would occur. He explained in an interview with the Barstool's Pardon My Take, Shanahan knew that would be the result when the play was installed in practice. No, he said that when he installed the play on Thursday, of course, for a third down play, Shanahan goes, look, when we're in this formation and this guy covers you, he always holds. So just push him inside and break out, and he's going to hold you. And I was like, all right, sounds good. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, okay, whatever. And then it actually happened. Like Kittle said, that dude is a wizard, and it's highly, highly, highly fun to play with him. Brother Rich, what say you about this take in regards to Kyle Shanahan's football intelligence?
Well, let's just give credit that just fact that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Come up properly. He's raised properly. He is absolutely a football genius, a savant in some regard, all right. To hear a player, one of his players, someone who's interacted with him in that way, describe him like that, only adds to his mystique. Now, we certainly have watched him do his day-to-day work. We didn't know the necessary genius mechanisms that go into how he does what he does. But here's someone we can be sure that has studied the playbook to such a degree, that institutes plays to such a degree, that studies players' tendencies to this degree, that he can assign a particular set play, anticipating a response because he's seen the play and studied the play and studied the player's tendency to such a degree that he can then tell his own player, anticipate this, and this is what actually is going to happen, and that they see it happen just like that. That is genius. That is developed over not just a natural gifted individual, but you actually applying it by studying your craft to such a degree that you begin to almost master it. So we're looking at you, knowing that you appear to be very good at what this football thing, and none of us can kind of figure it out. And we're wondering, well, is he live or is he Memorex? And then you show us along the way that absolutely this is real. And here comes a witness, a firsthand account to say, nah, he's everything we think he is. Everything y'all think he is, he's absolutely that. That's what we're talking about right now.
Absolutely. Well said, Brother Rich. You know what, man? I'm gonna call Jerry just for you. Double J, what say you about Kyle Shanahan's offensive intelligence?
Yeah, I'm gonna double down on what Brother Rich just said. We talked about a little earlier today, Barbershop, about when it comes to shooting, what part of the rim are you looking at? And us those that spend time, we say, well, if you're not looking at anything, it's muscle memory based off of repetition. This speaks to that. And simply put, when you have looked at something countless times, there is an anticipation of a result. Almost like if I don't study for a test, the chances are I'm going to fail. So in under these circumstances, for him to be able to execute something to that degree only reiterate his desire and passion for his craft. And more importantly, it speaks to something we talk about often, which is coaches in varying sports in their role being important versus unimportant or overvalued versus valued. This is a circumstance where that's somebody you want to have in any way, shape, or form involved in your franchise.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, Double J. Let me throw another question out here at you all, just to kind of drive home the point what Kittle was making, and again to Shanahan's offensive genius. I want to mention. Well, I'll ask the question after. Let me mention this first. We think back to when it comes to the NFL in particular, or maybe even the NBA. We talk about Greg Popovich or Phil Jackson or Tex Winter or Paul Brown or Vince Lombardi or Bill Belichick even. The common denominator amongst all the names I just mentioned is their attention to detail. Jim Brown spoke in his autobiography, a book I do have, by the way, about when people say that he was a great player. He said, I would want folks to realize or understand more so than saying or making that statement why they think that was the case. He said because it was the attention to detail that Paul Brown instilled in us. He said when Paul Brown was designing plays and so on and so forth, because, Paul Brown is an innovator for a lot of the things you see going on in the NFL today, mind you, as was Tom Landry, you know what I'm saying, and guys like that. He said, I took it a step further by really studying the nuances of not only my opponent, which most people in competition or in a sport and whatever would have you pay attention to. He said, but I wanted to understand all the guys on my team and their positions and what their responsibilities were too. Remember, we talked about this at Liberty before, a time or two, about how when Jim Brown said he would line up in it, you all got to get his book too. I got it somewhere stashed away. I'll find it and give you all the title. I don't know the title of it exactly because it's been a while since I've read it. Initially read it, but he would talk about how when he would line up in the backfield, he knew, I don't know if John Wooten was a left guard or a right guard, I can't remember which, but he knew when the left guard's toe or foot was turned inward, even though the play was designed, let's say a sweep or whatever it is, right? And the left guard and the right guard had to pull. He said, I knew if Wooten's left foot was pointed, to the right, slightly to the right, I knew I had to start the sweep going right, but I knew I had to immediately cut back left because if Sam Huff was on the other side, Sam saw the same thing and was going to think that he could get an advantage. And if you all know who Sam Huff was, don't get it twisted. Sam Huff was Ray Nitschke times two. Anyway, as a defender, right? Some of him and Jim Brown's battles were epic, okay? He said, I knew I was going to cut back because Sam was thinking that too. This attention to detail, Double J, why is it in the modern era of sports, it seems, or it would appear to me, that this attention to detail is so undervalued, as you just mentioned a little bit earlier?
Well, again, that, as you just pointed out, those were great examples with guys like Paul Brown, and specifically, I think the world needs to understand that he is the only coach whose coaching tree has spanned the length that it has, and I believe that is going to be until the NFL itself no longer, it ceased to exist, so to speak.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too.
If you look at Bill Belichick, that's also somebody, again, if you ask folks like Parcells and people that have worked with him in the past, they're meticulous in their attention to detail. So what we're pointing out right here, it goes for any fundamental element in life, no matter what it is that you are paying as close to that nth degree, you will find success. Even if you get 999 no's, you will get that one yes that will ultimately turn that page and lead into that following chapter. So I'm glad that we're highlighting that.
Good stuff. Brother Rich, what about you, man? Why does it seem in the modern era of sports that the attention to detail is so undervalued?
Because it's not necessary to become wealthy. I can get an NBA contract being a 10th man in the rotation. And I can make $10 million
got
a
you.
year. And I can get in the NFL being a very good player. But what stands me out, how do I become Tom Brady? Nah, I'm not going to eat like that.
Okay, got you.
Individuals and in the society does not drive us and require that kind of discipline. We can get it. We can get that kind of money too easily, and we ain't got to worry about. I ain't trying to be Tom Brady. I'm just trying to be. I'm glad. That's why I ain't trying to ruffle no feathers. I'm just happy. I'm
glad to be here.
I'm
got
happy
you.
I'm in the NBA. Yeah.
Got you. Okay, so I'm just glad to be here. I'm not going to get here and say I done did. And again, now we talking about what the work that has to go into getting there. Why not, when you get there, go above and beyond? All of the hard work I put in, you doggone right. I'm about to see how far I can go. But you say it's the mindset, right? It's the attitude. Some guys say, I'm just glad to be here, so I'm just going to ride the wave. Yeah, unbelievable. Because to me, that whole attention to detail thing, we just mentioned the modern era, again, Bill Belichick, just do your job. You see what I'm saying? We done went over this 1,000 times. Go ahead.
Remember, Jay, Kobe, God rest his beautiful soul.
Oh my!
He didn't want to just get to the league.
Oh my goodness!
Some guys want to
so
just get to the league.
That.
I just want to get to the league. He said, "I want to go wreck the league. I want to be the best player that ever played, that ever did this." It's a different attitude when you come in. I just made it. I just want to get to the league. So then you get to the league. You're there. That's why you talk about it from time to time. What kind of player gets to the league and will not learn to shoot free throws? Will not take his time.
Yeah.
You talk about players and their development. Well, you mention this all the time because they just made it to the league. They wasn't trying to wreck the league. They're not that kind of player. They don't have that kind of drive. That's why you can say, look, I'm a basketball player. This is not that serious. I'm going back to my life. In other words, I'm rich. Y'all are poor. This matters to y'all. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to a mansion.
Yeah.
That's how today's generation talks.
Is that setting a bad precedent, Brother Rich, you think? It don't matter to me. It matters to y'all.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely. That's why anytime we say it, everybody remembers that. Because it marked this generation. That's exactly what it said. And that's why we talk today. You hear players and people lamenting, today's league is about, this my friend, this my boy. We ain't going at each other on the court. There's no competition to that degree. Now, we're not going at each other. And this is why with no fans, I said this to you before, with no fans in the bubble, a lot of people are going to be exposed. You don't have the fans and the noise and the TV and the fanfare to
the
cover
distractions,
all of that.
really.
You're just on the basketball court playing. Yeah. You don't have any distractions. You just playing basketball now. Yeah.
But you know what, though? I know we sidebarring right quick because I still got a few other points I want to mention about Kyle Shanahan. But I'm glad you brought that up too, though, Brother Rich. I would have thought, though, in the bubble that it would almost be like how we used to do. But see, then when you say we used to do, we was driven, not to the extent Kobe was, but driven Kobe-like. You know what I'm trying to say? So we used to play in open gyms with 2 or 3 people. It didn't matter. I wanted to beat you. You wanted to beat me. So it was highly intense. You see what I'm saying? But
that's why these games are going to be more intense. Exactly correct. And so in the intensity of these games, because they are like that. See, remember now, there's an element to going to the big arena. You got people like Double J there. He got his wives with him. He got all his each rolled up in his vans. You got the Ford Motor Company. You got this person in the Forum and the Staples Center and downtown Cleveland. It's an entertainment thing. Now that element is removed now. Now there's we piping in music. There's not even real people there. We think they're real people because we're watching it on TV. That's all eye magic.
Yeah.
To them, they know there's nobody there, but just their teammates and the people who work on their staff. That's it. And they're in the bubble, and they know they are literally in a bubble. There's nobody around them other than NBA people. And there's not a bunch of media. The media is restricted access to them. But what they do know, though, is that cameras are on them. And I want you to pay attention to this. I predict you will see a lot of people throwing away last shots in this bubble as these playoffs get tighter next week. Watch.
You think so? That's interesting.
The bubble is going to show a lot.
It's going.
That's why D Book and them are coming out, because bubble is for real. This going to show the real ball players. You're going to see the real hoopers in the bubble, because all our eyes are on the bubble. Ain't no distractions in the bubble. With the same thing, we don't watch fans anymore in the bubble. We ain't trying to worry about who at the game. You know what we're watching this time?
The game.
Only the basketball. We're not listening to, we're only watching the basketball. Notice next time when you're watching the game, you're only watching the game. That's all you're watching now. You're not watching hey man, that's Jay-Z sitting sidewalk. Oh man, look at Lil Wayne walking by. Oh man, look at that fine woman. Look at hey man, what they drinking? You're focusing on the basketball. You're focusing on Luka, the fact that he really got game, that he really can put the ball on the floor, that he got a basketball body, that he looks like a guy that would come in the gym in shorts, and he can really hoop. He don't care about what sneakers he got on. He just wants some good sneakers. He looks like he can hoop.
So
he's a basketball player. You see these books playing basketball. Those are basketball players.
Yeah, he is. He's booking it. So in other words, it kind of almost sort of like forces you as a fan to pay attention to detail. You know what I'm saying? The details of the game.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm telling you. That's exactly correct.
And something similar to what I kind of been alluding to for eons here, what seems like, is when I tell people all the time about watching a game and turn the TV on mute. That way you don't have to deal with that distraction. Right. This is kind of what the bubble is doing by de facto in a de facto kind of way. But to get back to the Kyle Shanahan thing, a couple of more points I wanted to make in that. You know, we mentioned Jim Brown, Paul Brown, but I also wanted to talk, about Jerry Kramer, and this whole attention to detail thing. Man, you all have to read, and again, I don't have the title of his book, but I do have the book. But Jerry Kramer was a Hall of Fame offensive lineman during the Packers' early runs, in the first Super Bowl, when they was winning championships, when they were calling them championships, and then, of course, when they played in the first two Super Bowls or whatnot. And he talked about how Lombardi would go through, like the basic running play, and I'm embellishing a little bit here, but a play like 50, 60 times. And he was like, "Oh my goodness!" And then we talk about the boys of Dunbar with Bob Wade, former Baltimore coach, played with Unitas and all of them guys when he started coaching that boys of Dunbar squad, and the not letting them pick up a basketball and the sprints and stuff they would run, because Kramer basically said Lombardi's whole deal was, we're going to run this play as we will with all our other plays until it becomes precise. Until you do it correctly without thinking. And what's that saying? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And that so that's what we mean? That's another way of the translation of attention to detail? Oh, okay, got you. And then the last point I wanted to make to Shanahan's offensive genius, no disrespect to this first guy, because I think he's decent. Well, I really didn't see it at Boston College, but Matt Ryan, anytime an offensive coordinator can make Matt Ryan and Brian Hoyer look like Hall of Famers, you know that guy's an offensive genius. Okay? Because let's be real now. Atlanta Falcons Matt Ryan, he ain't looked the same since Shanahan been gone. And we all know the story about Brian Hoyer. Right? Okay, so yeah, I'm with you, Mr. Kittle. And then lastly, gentlemen, do we think that the 49ers will get back to a Super Bowl should this NFL season take place? Brother Rich?
Absolutely.
Oh, really? Do tell. You don't have to, it can be brief, but, just elaborate a little bit.
And here's why.
Okay.
Just real short, because more than likely we're playing with some kind of abbreviated format.
Right, okay.
To savor a certain kind of chemistry, a certain kind of teamwork, a certain kind of programming, and a certain kind of element to operating. They traditionally have all of that intact, and we know what we're talking about this for a reason, because we know what his genius is. It's putting that kind of thing together in short order.
Double J, what about you?
I believe they can make the playoffs. I don't believe that they'll be able to go to the Super Bowl again. The only reason why is just where being a data guy as I am, it does not bode well for when it comes to statistics. Of course, the league itself is based on parity, but I do believe they will remain relevant and in the mix throughout the next 5 seasons.
And you know what? What you just said brings about another question, and we'll stay with you, Double J. The idea of not having any preseason games at all, do you think that will be a factor in the successes of some teams or most teams, should there be a season?
I'm going to say yes, and the reason why is that was traditionally intended to be somewhat of a measuring stick. Where are we versus someone, somebody else.
Got you.
With that being said, if you are paying that close of attention to detail, you don't necessarily need or require that measuring stick. Again, somebody like Shanahan and even the team itself has a pulse of where they believe they should be. And again, they can assess where they actually are and make the correct changes to get to where they believe they should ultimately be.
Got you. Brother Richard, what about you? You think not having no preseason games will make, be that big of a difference? We see a lot of rust, so on and so forth. Because, if NFL season is short, 16 games, it's short as it is.
Absolutely.
It's not much time to get the rust off.
No time at all.
Yeah.
Even these photographs we're seeing on social media where you see them out working out, according to what we're told constantly by professional players who enter the sports media, they tell us there's no preparation like actually playing the actual game. And so, unfortunately, the sport of football is unlike and unique to anything that we know.
Yeah.
And it is a violent sport in and of itself. And so you're asking people to get their timing down in a game or a sport in which collision is a natural element of it anyway. But now if you're 1 second to the left, 1/2 a second to the right too much, you could now have a severe knee injury, a more serious shoulder injury, all because your timing is a little bit more off because your flexibility and your comfortability with what you normally would be a normal movement, having gone through training camp and preseason games, that just kind of getting the feel for the field itself is now not there. Now you're in live action immediately.
Yeah, good stuff. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number is 267-687-0026. The Shop Report is being powered by Rocket Digital Media, the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. This next one comes to us from the land of Facebook in a sports debate group I'm in, which is a pretty good group. Double J, I thought I had invited you well before today, so that's my bad. But this comes from Elite Sports Debate, and I got to give a shout-out to the two admins that I know in particular, Brandon Taylor and Mikhail Arnold. These guys do a heck of a job of keeping things lively, entertaining, insightful, and all that other good stuff, man. It's one of the few groups I look forward to the responses and comments for the most part, because some of them are outlandish, and that's what we're here for, actually, to take a look at some of the most outlandish, where their Elite Sports Debate has a hall of shame, so to speak, and it's, they put a list together of some of the most outlandish sports takes to date. And let me read a few of them for you. Now, here's the deal. Actually, I'm going to read the whole list to you, but here's the deal. At any time, fellas, after I read one, if you want to pipe in or chime in on what you think of what I just read, so on and so forth, by all means do so. But, of course, one at a time. Okay. And they're actually calling it the Hall of Shame Worst Sports Debates Takes. The first one is, and somebody actually said these things. This is why I thought, and I asked the guy, I said, oh, man, when I read it, the list, I was like, oh, man, you got to let me use this. This is a show topic for me. He was like, man, by all means, run with it. So there's about 20 here on the list. And again, there are people who actually said these things out of their mouths, okay? So here's the first one. Reggie Jackson is just as dominant as Shaquille O'Neal. No. What you
The
say?
baseball player?
No.
The baseball player?
No. Double J's former Detroit Piston, Reggie Jackson, is just as dominant as Shaquille O'Neal.
No. That's what I'm saying. No. That's what I'm saying. This is not. This is what I'm saying. This can't be real. Nah, I can't.
Yeah. No. Okay. So that's number one. Here's number two. And I guess this one could be debated or argued, but LeBron James purposely lost the 2011 NBA Finals. That one is got a little bit more substance.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree with that vehemently.
Okay, that's fine. What about you, Double J?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, here's number three. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Dr. J, and Moses Malone were all taxi drivers playing basketball.
That person is a jackass.
This is for real?
What'd you say? Who was that, Brother Rich? Was that you?
Serious? Somebody said that?
Yes, Double J. That's why I said my apologies for not inviting you to this group sooner. These are and this is why I love this. I'm telling you, Brandon Taylor and Mikael Arnold, man, they do a fabulous job of being administrators for this particular group. They come up with stuff, man, that just yes, but they put together a list of things somebody actually said in the thread in the group. Go ahead, Double J.
If you're going to say something like any of the three things that I've heard right now, you need to be breathalyzered or get a urine.
Oh, but guess what? Oh, I'm just now getting warmed up. Number 4, Steve Nash is better than Magic Johnson. Yeah. Let that marinate. Oh man, I told you all. It's about maybe 19, 20 of these outlandish takes, right? And we just at number 4. Yeah, Steve Nash is better than Magic Johnson. Seriously? No disrespect to anybody out there listening, but see now when I hear people say certain things, and I don't disrespect nobody's takes or intelligence for the most part, I don't. But if you say something that makes absolutely no sense, now I understand why they make suppositories. You might need to chew on a few, okay? Anyway, number 5, DeAndre Jordan is more skilled. Let me say this again now. DeAndre Jordan is more skilled than Moses Malone.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Oh man. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface. Y'all ready for numbers? That was number 5. Okay. You all gave your responses to number 5. I get it. What you say was already understood need not even be said again. Anyway, we had number 6 now. John Wall is better than John Stockton. No takers?
Who are these people?
Listen, Brother Rich, see, the thing is...
Here's what bothers me, Barbershop, because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't drink often, but I honestly opened something. I'm good right now because this is crazy.
Exactly. Now, see, here's the thing. Here's the killer part. And this is why I appreciate, again, I'm shouting out Mikael Arnold and Brandon Taylor, because these guys, they know my work schedule, my 9 to 5, you know what I mean? And it's a lot of stuff that they do in this group that I can't participate in because the time won't allow. So they always tag me in something, or they'll text me, or they'll keep me abreast. So when I go look at it later or whatever the case may be. So I got to shout these two dudes out because I'm in a few groups, but no group I've been in has admins like this one. Well, I like the group you got me in too, Double J, the Ultimate Sports Lounge. Those are two of my favorites, to be honest with you. Actually, I might cut it down to these two to be totally honest with you. But anyway, here's number 7. And this one, outlandish, don't even do it justification. If I'm even saying that right. Outlandish, asinine. I can't even find an adjective to describe. When I read number 7, matter of fact, this should have been number 1. But when I read number 7, I sat in my chair for about what felt like 2 days. I'm trying to find in any and all sense of rationalization. I said, no. I asked the guys, I said, okay, did somebody say this just to be a shock jock, so to speak? You get what I'm saying? Because again, they tell me, they said, no, man, this stuff is real. Because again, there's things being said in the threads that I don't get to, see right away, so to speak. But number 7 is this. Drum roll, please. Randy Moss was a scrub.
Not Kobe.
Randy Moss was a scrub.
No.
Yes. Randy Moss was a scrub. Double J, you care to say something about that one?
The look I had on my face was about as similar, probably something, I can only say like maybe a Damian Lillard gift would be the closest.
Crazy.
Yes. Somebody actually said Randy Moss was a scrub. I'm telling you, I asked the guy before I picked it or selected it for today's topics. I said, man, because, when I put my stuff out to the people, you know what I mean? It's got to be concrete. He said, man, dog. Then he showed me the thread. And the guy not only said it, but he went on and on trying to defend it. I said, unbelievable. Okay, are we past number 7? Have we gotten over that right now? Because I'm like you, Double J. This kind of stuff would drive you to drinking. If we done got over number 7, here's number 8. Larry Bird would be on the bench in today's NBA. Yeah.
This is a comedy routine that I'm listening to right now. This is really a comedy.
Yes, that's what I said. The Keystone Cops.
This is a real thread of comedy.
Yes, the Keystone Cops. Yeah, you got it right, Brother Rich.
Hang on, I got to interject. I got to interject.
Okay.
We're 7 in, so we're not even halfway here yet.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
These guys call themselves sports fans.
And listen, even if you're I'm so glad you said it that way, Double J. Even if you are a casual fan, how you fix your mouth to say Randy Moss was a scrub? We're talking about, I know we on number 8. Well, I just can't get off of that one. We're talking about the guy who set the single season touchdown record over. I know he didn't get no bowl. I get it. I wish he had at least one. But anyway, as from an individual standpoint, didn't he say Randy Moss was a scrub because he didn't win a Super Bowl? He said Randy Moss was a scrub, period. So from an individual standpoint, the dude set the single season receiving the touchdown record over Jerry Rice. And then Larry Bird would be on the bench in today's NBA. Who would be in front of him? Michael Kidd-Gilchrist? Anyway. Yeah, Double J. Brother Rich, you might want to crack open a bottle too. Because we ain't even.
I opened mine already. I opened mine when you said Larry Bird and he was on the bench.
Okay.
I had to pop it. I had to go drink that. I got to do extra work.
Now, number 9 is not maybe as outlandish as one might think. But then again, who knows? Charles Barkley is the greatest power forward of all time.
Nonsense. Absolute, complete nonsense.
Yeah. But you know what, though? I mean, that could actually be debatable. You think? No? I mean, let me say this.
Played in the NBA.
Let me say this. Maybe
Karl Malone played in the NBA.
And so did Tim Duncan, and so did my man in Boston.
Tim Duncan played in the NBA.
McHale. But you could
Kevin
probably
McHale played in the NBA.
But you could make a case, even though I would disagree with number 9. I do disagree with that. But you could. I think
Kevin Garnett played in the
NBA. Yeah, yeah. But I think. But I tell you what, compared to number 8 and number 7, I'll take number 9. You get what I'm trying to say? I'll take number 9, but I do disagree with it. Number 10, and I really don't get this one. Double J, you might have to help me out on this one because I think the guy is pretty darn good. But number 10, Mike Trout is trash.
I'm done. I'm done with that.
Oh no, brother! But no. You ain't getting out here that easy. You're not getting out here.
But we can't respond. We can't be expected to respond to this kind of nonsense. I can't be expected to take this kind of stuff seriously.
Yeah.
Mike Trout is trash.
Yes.
Mike Trout, who is keeping the whole franchise and the whole region. Mike Trout is the only reason his franchise exists. As you know, I live in Southern California, in L.A. to be particular. They only made that team. The only reason that team exists is, and that's why they have to give him so much money, because he's literally keeping a region alive. The only thing that exists where he is that baseball team. And especially in this climate today where you can, at least they are there, that is the only thing keeping that community of Anaheim, where that team is actually located, vibrant for years and years. So to the Mike Trout and what he brought to the game of baseball and the whole region, for somebody to say he's trash, if I'm being asked to take this seriously from a serious person like yourself and a very serious person like Double J, I'm slightly offended.
Yes, I'm completely offended. Double J, you want to add anything? Okay, good. You say you completely dumbfounded.
I can't even put a sentence together.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's beyond crazy.
Look, I'll speak to this last point specifically, just very briefly. To Brother Rich's point, look, that team, again, it's one thing if they wanted to call out the entire franchise and say they're overrated, et cetera. But that's one thing. But to specifically hone in on that player and make that proclamation that guy should have, or individual should hopefully have a eulogy, at least for his sports fandom.
Or need to be checked, maybe get his prostate checked by a guy who got a Super Bowl ring on. Number 11. Football is the only sport you can be clutch in.
Man, come on.
I'm serious.
At what point do we stop this?
I'm serious. Now, it's a few more on here. As I'm reading the list, as I'm really going through the list, I won't read them off because they really don't. They outlandish, but we don't even need to spend no time on them. But there's a few more on here. So I won't go through all of them, but I'm only leaving out maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, but they say, somebody actually said football is the only sport you can be clutch in. Now, you all are two of the biggest soccer fans I know. I mean, yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So we move on to number 12.
Double J, have somebody explain to them being down 1-0 and the 90-second clock is running and a player comes down and hits a half-field yard strike and winds up in the back of the net, and just as the referee is about to blow that whistle, and explain the exhilaration in the stadium when people lose their minds as Mexico, Spain, or Argentina, or something like that, and tell me you can't be clutch in soccer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. All you got to do is go to the Manchester City match where they won the league versus QPR, tied going into the game versus with their inner city rival being Manchester United. Manchester United thinking they have won the league because they had won their game. It's in the 93rd minute, and Manchester City has to come back from essentially and score 2 goals in under 5 minutes. And if you watch that sequence, you will see grown men cry, and you will absolutely understand. I don't have to say Cristiano getting, doing a bicycle kick in a Champions League game.
Oh, my.
I'm talking the clutch from every individual wearing the same kit from top to bottom that stands longer than and would challenge the time of clutch that we generally understand today. Because generally clutch means a moment spanning 10 seconds or less, not spanning minutes.
Yeah, well, somebody actually said that. And again, I won't go through all of them because, again, as I read the list here, I'm like, yeah, we don't even need to spend as much time on it as we will some of the other ones. But just trying to really point out the ones that just, are jaw-dropping. This next one, Yogi Berra doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame.
Throw them out.
Okay. All right.
Throw them out.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, I know. That's what. Yes, I know.
Now you're insulting me as a Yankee fan. Come on, man.
Yeah.
This is personal. I know you're a Cowboy fan, but
Yeah.
Double J, you notice the whole Cowboy focus of the centric focus of the program today?
No, what did you say?
And then you slash the Yankees now. Come on, man.
This is not coming from
me. What I'm
me.
say is that this has to be some kind of payback to the most extreme, the most far left or right.
Terrible, man.
Like,
wrong.
He had the nerve to bring out somebody from Murderers Row.
Come on, man.
Listen, this is not me. These are not my words. I'm just reading what was already said. I'm in agreement with you all. I don't know why with the Dallas reference got to be in there again. You know what I mean? I'm going to get a counter. Ding! Every time you all say something about Lil Jerry, Lil Penny, and Lil Minnie. But here's the next one. I almost don't want to read this because I already kind of know what y'all. I already know the responses, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Chad Pennington is better than Dan Marino.
Come on, man. We get ridiculous with this, man.
Yeah. And then I'll read 2 more, and then we can just wrap things up and get on out of here, so you all can get back to drinking y'all's beverage of choice.
Dan Marino, the football player, the one who played in Florida and Miami.
Yeah,
that's Dan Marino.
Yes, the one who was arguably one of the best, the quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks of the best quarterback draft class to date. Okay, 83.
But the same guy, that's like the first $100 million quarterback, like that guy that was in Ace Ventura, one.
Yeah.
Just a fact check.
Yeah. Chad Pennington is better than Dan Marino. Somebody actually said this. That's the part that's so mind-boggling. People actually said these things, and when I asked the dude to show me, because I couldn't remember. He said, man, you don't remember when the guy said? I said, no. You know how they do the screenshot or whatever they could do it for Facebook? Yes, where they took the actual, and the thread went on and on and on. But then here are the last 2. Julian Edelman is comparable to Jerry Rice.
Oh, boy.
Now Jay, come on.
I'm telling you, these are not, telling you.
Sometimes just the voice of thing is an offense. You can't go into a crowded theater. It's a crime to go into a crowded theater and say fire because you're causing an offense to the public. This is causing an offense to the public's ear.
And what'd you say, inciting a riot?
That Julian Edelman you're inciting riots here.
Yeah.
Me and Double J is trying to recover from his beautiful trip.
Yeah. And then the last one I'll read.
And I tell you what.
Go ahead.
the only way you could compare those two is the fact that they both played receiver in the NFL, and that's where it lives and dies.
What you say, Double J? You say by position only. That's it. Or only a namesake, so to speak. And then the last one, Jim Caldwell, who I do love and like very much so, is just as good a coach as Bill Belichick.
Okay.
And
well, I'm glad the survey is over. I'm just glad it's done. The torture is finished.
Yeah.
I got a headache.
Yeah. So do I. So yeah. I told the guy, man, when I asked him if I could use this, he said, man, they said one of the guys that responded on the thread at the time said the same thing you and Double J did, Brother Rich. He was like, man, I can't believe something. Man, these people need to be, and he said a few other words. And I said, no. Let them keep saying stuff like this because it provides for great show material for us. But apparently not. Yes, sir, indeed. Fellas, as always, that's some good stuff. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out, right here on the Spreaker.com network. You go to the search box and you type in The Shop Report. And while you're there, please subscribe. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And again, please give us a follow. And don't forget, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as dropping us your comments, suggestions via email, theshopreport365@gmail.com. And the website, as always, is theshopreport.com. And if it don't work, if that don't work, you can Google it. For my mans, Be Rich, Double J, and all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. And as always, the Shop Report is brought to you by Rocket Digital Media, the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!
Honorable mention.
That's very paid
Cowboys are the best franchise.
You know, if you were at Circle K right now, you could pop in and grab something fresh and delicious to eat and be back on the road in no time. Yep, you'd be moments away from sinking your teeth into a juicy bacon cheeseburger or a mouth-watering brunch burger on a brioche bun, both hot and fresh out of the oven. From pizza to sandwiches, whatever you're in the mood for, it's all fresh and it's all fast at Circle K. Food offering varies by location. You know, if you were at Circle K right now, you could pop in and grab something fresh and delicious to eat and be back on the road in no time. Yep, you'd be moments away from sinking your teeth into a juicy bacon cheeseburger or a mouth-watering brunch burger on a brioche bun, both hot and fresh out of the oven. From pizza to sandwiches, whatever you're in the mood for, it's all fresh and it's all fast at Circle K. Food offering varies by location.